Hey there, welcome to another episode of Snubbed. This is episode number 12, and the movie this time for the 1937 Oscars is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Dwarfs. So again, just as sort of a reminder, I just pulled these from a couple different lists that I found online of movies that people considered to be snubbed at the various Oscar ceremonies. These are not necessarily movies that I think are snubbed, although I think in some of the more, the more contemporary years when I had more of an opinion and saw some of the movies, in the 90s and 2000s and such, there might have been a couple that I put in or picked specifically because I thought they were snubbed. So there is a boatload of stuff on the Wikipedia page for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm not going to go into all that. It's pretty well known. So I'll just kind of give an opinion. Trying to find, I know that this one, like they gave Walt Disney like a special achievement Oscar for this. And they gave him an Oscar and then 7 little Oscars. I don't know. Can't find if it won any other. It was nominated for Best Musical Score at the Academy Awards in 1938. And then next year, producer Walt Disney was awarded an honorary Oscar for the film. This award was unique, consisting of 1 normal size plus 7 miniature Oscar statuettes. They were presented to Disney by Shirley Temple. That all I knew. So I'll just talk about it a little bit. I've seen this before. I've got 2 girls, and they're older now, but I have watched this in the past. I probably had seen at least some of it before watching with them, but it's been a very long time, to be honest. And I don't know that I really ever paid that much attention to it, even when we watched with the girls. So when we started watching this, I was looking at the animation of the human characters, and immediately it reminded me of like the Ralph Bakshi stuff, like The Hobbit and those things. And I was like, this looks like it's rotoscoped. And for those that don't know, rotoscoping is when they take real footage of something and then sort of trace over it to give it a more realistic movement and look to, in this case, to the humans. Now, the rest of the movie, the animals and the dwarfs were all animated in sort of the traditional Disney way. But the humans, like the Snow White, the prince, and the queen, were all animated using rotoscoping. So they filmed actors doing the movements, and then I believe they projected them onto glass or something and drew over that. So it does give it a more realistic look. It also, to me, looks kind of weird because I don't know, the cartooniness of the rest of the movie, it doesn't necessarily go with it. And, the faces specifically tend to lose some detail, I think, in a way that, maybe it looks cartoony when they animate it, but it sort of remove like the nose and stuff tends to disappear when they rotoscope things like that if they don't, trace over it exactly. But that being said, for the time and everything, the animation is amazing. Technically, it's incredible, that they did this in 1937. So it's good in that sense. The movie itself, it's pretty short, and yet it felt long. It's sort of a long walk, a long watch. I mean, it's not time wise, but it felt very slow to me, especially once she gets to the dwarfs. So not bad at all. Do I think it was snubbed? Animation, and this was obviously early on, but animation typically doesn't get nominated for Best Picture. The only time I think it was that I remember is Beauty and the Beast. So, and then, but now they have an animation category, so it's very unlikely that something will get nominated. But snubbed, probably not. I mean, looking at the rest of the movies, I mean, the 1937 movies, I did not like most of them. Out of the 10, I probably liked about 3. Life of Emile Zola, Star is Born. I think The Awful Truth, maybe. Maybe I would put Snow White above one of these other movies that were nominated, but I don't necessarily think that this was snubbed. It's technical achievement, sure. It's cinematic in the sense that at the time it was something people hadn't seen. It was in color, it had sound, animation, which I mean, sound in movies had been around for a while, obviously, but it was a technical achievement to be sure. So that said, I don't think this one was snubbed, but still good on Disney Plus. Check it out. That's all I got for this one. See you next time.